Alright, let's start out. This is my next project I'm gonna make a movie on. Now actually it's gonna be called in reference to a butcher block. And this doesn't look like a butcher block, but I don't have a butcher block to machine. I did one 35 years ago when I had my shop, wood shop, and I learned the trick how to do it from a book that was probably 20 years old. So it's something been around. But what I had done was this restaurant that I had a big butcher block, and it was all chopped up on the top, and they wanted to machine down, so they came to me, and I found this old book that showed an easy way how to do it. So the only thing I got left to do now to show you how to do it, or a way to do it is I got my stump out in the backyard from a maple tree, and as you can see, it doesn't look too good, and it's rotting there, but it does half of it's good solid wood. But I'm going to use it as an example of how to machine this, to machine it flat and semi-smooth, and what you would need. Now this is around 19 inches in diameter, but the thing I'm going to use, you can go up to 4 foot in diameter. You can do any size you want. Now what I'm going to be using is two things. I have a wooden 2x4 framework that I bolted, screwed together, and I'll show you it mounted on the tree. But the only important thing about this is you have to make sure that it's parallel and that these boards are straight. So the only important thing. Now this is framed together, and it's because I'm going to use it on the trunk, and you'll see why in a little bit. But I mean, I could, on a butcher block, I could have just had the two long side rails and just have those. Now what it is, those are all machined straight, and I rub paraffin on it so it slides easier. Now the other thing I'm going to use is a bridge. I call it a bridge. What it really is let me show you the bottom. Router sticking out through the bottom. This is the top. Yeah, I got a 2x4 and another board screwed on the board, and then right in the center I have a router. The only important thing on this bridge is the biggest this could work on is from the center of that router to the edge of the board. And right now that measures around 22 inches. So that means I can safely router something at least 22 inches wide. I got something that's bigger, all I got to do is I can make one twice as long. But you want that to be nice and straight and sturdy. Alright, let me put the framework on, and then I'll continue. Concept, I took that board, put 3 screws on the center, and I thought that would be enough to keep it stable on that trunk, because you don't want anything to move. The more stable those 2 runners are, the more smoother that top's going to come out. I found I had to put a couple of kickers on here to go up just to straighten this. I got one on each side, and that's on there solid now. Now I got a nice flat level surface. I'm going to go ahead, make one cut, and then I'll have my wife come out and I'll tape the last cut, the finished cut. Alright, I'm going to do a cut. You won't see that, but you see the finished cut. I don't know how well you can see the surface here. I mean, it's a little rough because it's wet wood and the router wasn't the sharpest, but you can see she's level. She's parallel and level with my side rails. Like I said, a lot of this is routed. No, but this is just an example how to machine this, because otherwise, you know, belts that, you know, I took actually, you can see how high this is here. I started out with this tree being level on this side. So actually I took almost like 3/8 of an inch off. The only thing I got to watch is my cutter, because I was taking such a heavy cut, started to creep out on me a little bit. But otherwise, this top, the whole surface is within a 32nd of an inch. Now, whole advantage of the system is that you can use this to any size. There's a place down in Florida, yeah, all I can tell you is it's in the central Florida. It's those big cypress slabs, but they're uneven. This way, hey, you sort of bowl them down on the top and you make a framework and you make a big bridge with the router, and you can router them down pretty flat. Then, like I say, you know, I could take a belt sander to this and all of that, but this is just the stump outside, and I'll show you what I'm going to use the stump for when I'm done. I haven't decided what I'm going to do at the bottom yet. I might chainsaw that next year into design or something, but I'll show you what it's done. Alright, I'm going to pull the framework off. Another view of the framework. Another view of the bridge that I used. There's the bit. I was actually using around a 3/4 inch diameter carbide bit that I had. But you know, I mean, wider the bit, the better it is actually, probably. Want to put a bigger router around there, you put a bigger router. I could have put my big 1/2 inch in there and swung something real big. But hey, you know, I see somebody selling a kit that you clamp on, basically out of aluminum and all that, but you're limited on the size for a couple of $100. You don't need that. 2 boards, you know, a total of 4 boards in the bridge, and you got it yourself. You can make any size you want. I mean, you can any size. Alright, that's about it. I'll show you it when I'm done and what I used it for, and that's it for now. This is what I did with the stump after I machined it. I put my ball on top of it that I made in a previous video. Like I say, this worked out pretty good. I gotta say that the technique, using those 2 rails and the bridge for the router, you can machine any size. Like I say, 35 years ago I machined a butcher block top. The only problem was I did it inside the store that workshop that I had inside. Man, that thing smelled just from the dust from that butcher block, because it was the butcher block that they were using. It stunk like meat for a couple of weeks after that. So if you're going to really machine a working butcher block, do it outside. Save yourself a lot of hassle. Alright, that's it.